Awesome. Welcome to the BMI Podcast, guys. Today we have Beau Edgecombe, one of the local real estate agents here in Hamilton, and my real estate agent for my last deal that we just did. Thanks for coming on, Beau.
No problem. Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. I've been talking to Beau since we've been going around and looking at properties and said to you, like, let's get you on the podcast. It's good to educate some people out there, that have a bit of an inclination towards real estate of, being a bit scared and just not having enough people telling you about the real things that happen in real estate. Yeah.
There's so many perspectives of it.
Yeah.
People look at it negatively, or people can look at it through mine and your eyes and see so much positivity in it and what it can produce.
Yeah, for sure. Like you're right on the hit the nail on the head. It's a lot of positivity from people that have been through the process, but then there's a lot of that negativity for people who really just haven't. Or I can see the reason behind it. Like it's scary. It's a lot of money. These are what would we say in real estate? These are their most expensive purchase in their life.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
One of the biggest transactions they will potentially make, basically.
Yeah. Because even then businesses aren't normally around that much, like for business loans or anything like that. It's just
100%. It can be their life savings. It can be their inheritance or wherever the deposits come from.
Yeah.
To be able to put that into something and not see that dollar sign anymore can be quite daunting.
Yeah.
That's a lot of what we see throughout our day to day is them parting with that money.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I remember when I went and bought my first property, and I was 20 when I signed up to it, and man, like they just had all the papers.
Yep.
It was a pile of papers, and they're like, and then the lawyer goes, "Oh, here, sign your life away," and I was just like, "Whoa, like, calm down, lady," like, But then that made me go like, "Holy shit!" Like, what do you mean by that? Like, but even then, like, you shouldn't like that. Because I was young, like I that was my thought. I was like, "Oh shit, is this a bad idea?"
Yeah.
Those thoughts go through your head and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. I was 20 when I bought as well, and it's a big bite to take at 20 years old. Luckily, I had a very good support system around me with my sister and cousins and family. Like, already have a huge amount of trust in property.
Yeah,
and having that background behind me, I knew I was making the right decision, but signing those papers and doing what you got to do is a very daunting process, especially at 20.
Yeah. Well, I guess give us a little bit of a background on yourself, like when it comes to real estate.
So my sister is an agent in Morrinsville, and she's been the top agent out there for 8 or 9 years now.
Good.
So I have that to fall back on, and then my cousin owns his own real estate brand within Hamilton. Works quite well because he's not conjunctional with us.
Oh, yeah.
So he's sort of a boutique company that lists and sells his own property, and just does his own thing and lives his own little life with his kids.
Yeah.
So that's always quite good to fall back on because it's not competitive with him. Because, as you're very well aware of in real estate, it's extremely competitive.
Yeah.
And then I've jumped into real estate coming up a year now. And
awesome.
Just having those conversations with those people around the table and just the impact you can give on someone's life by being an agent is second to none, basically. Like handing a first home buyer the keys.
Yeah.
At the end of a process that they thought they'll never be able to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah, and just holding their hand during that journey,
exactly.
Right? And then just seeing the joy it brings them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially you get the younger buyers and they thought that purchasing a home would not be something that they would ever be able to achieve. And the day you give them the keys, the smile on their face is, all the emotion that they share with you is huge. Like I've been invited back to like housewarming parties and all of it, and they're just in a position where they never thought they could be.
Yeah, they're over the moon, right? Like,
exactly.
Yeah, like you make a good point because they think that they I think that's what the media portrays to people as, and they're just constantly popping up the stats of this is how much you make, or you can't make that, you won't be able to buy a house or anything like that. It's not actually that. It's really, you can fall into that box whether you are just going to cruise and not put in effort. Whereas I think the people that you didn't think that they would get there and have their own first home, they actually put in the effort and they actually had intent, like there's a lot of people out there that are actually making decent enough money, but they're just making some poor financial decisions,
100%.
and they're eating it's not to say that if you stop eating Uber Eats, you'll be able to buy a house, but like all of these things are compounding, right? Like I would always say, like I've said in a few of my podcasts, I could buy a house if I start from ground zero within 18 months. Like I would just go, and I could probably even say it'll be even at an average job. But the thing is, I won't get the kind of houses I would want. I would have to start at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'd have to go to the outer skirts of the Waikato, or something, even probably even out of Waikato if I
even
really...
if it was a 2-bedroom, you can still get yourself
Yep.
on the ladder.
Yeah.
Nothing against a 2-bedroom, of course. Getting yourself on the ladder outside of town, leverage against it, go again.
Yeah, well, that's what I would do as well. That's what I say is I would start small, out far, and a renovation, something I can add value to. So that's where you build that equity up. And a lot of people, they're like, well, my mate bought in Rototuna, so I want to be in Rototuna too. So it's like, because it's keeping up with the Joneses. So I will never be able to afford that. It's like, you're not going to be able to afford that, but maybe try this neighborhood or maybe try this region, and do a bit of commuting for 6 months to a year.
Exactly.
Like I think a lot of people just want to say they like, oh, it's not doable for me. It's just more like you're not willing to sacrifice in certain areas,
Exactly. Going back to that Rototuna, you got to be, I'd much rather own 2 $500,000 houses on the outskirts of Hamilton than one $1 million house within Hamilton.
Yeah.
Just understanding the logistics of how cash flow can work from 2 properties to better, because it's a long game.
Yeah.
It's such a long game. And once you get your head around that, it just betters everything.
Yeah, like I definitely think like those $1 million properties here in Hamilton, what people don't realize is they're in the areas that go up fast, but they're also in the areas that can come down fast 100%. As well. And then the problem with those there is their yields are so far off because you're buying just for the neighborhood name or school zoning or
it's like a status thing.
Yeah, it's a status thing, and I think that's where a few of my mates have actually been caught out. Like they've bought and sold in that period where we were in the downfall, and then they lost a big chunk of money, like around 100,000. And that's people's deposits
gone.
Yeah, gone. And, and if you chalk a couple of those transactions up, you could have done well for 5 years in real estate before, and then you can end up going backwards if you just make some emotional decisions and rushing out of things. And
it's like what I was saying to a lot of people last year when they were thinking about selling. I was like, do you really have to sell? Because we can be having a completely different conversation this year, as in being 2025, where we've made you money, you're not at the other end of a loss.
No, well, that's true, right? Like I always think the way that I would tell people is like, you've never lost money until you sell.
Exactly.
So like with real estate, historically, unless you bought an absolute lemon, well then that's your fault as well, like without doing your own due diligence and stuff.
100%. In real estate. So even like, we're always going to be in a better position. It goes up and down. Yeah, we've had a crazy height in 2021. And we've had a crazy slump in the 2024, sorry.
Yeah. And 2023.
Yeah, exactly. But we're still in a better position than we were in 2018, 2019. That's 2021 to 2023. It's 3 or 4 years that went up and down. The year before that, we're still in a better position than we are now. Than we are now.
Yeah.
It's always on an upward trajectory. In the long-term sort of side of it.
Yeah. There's always, when you look at the graphs, right, there's always
ups and downs, ebbs and flows.
Corrections, right? Like that's what I would always call it. Like I think 2021 was just bonkers.
Yeah.
I think, and that kind of growth, I don't see us ever getting that kind of growth ever again. Like that was just unsustainable.
Yeah.
And that's why they had to do the, what is it called, an engineered recession, because it just went too nuts, because they did make money too cheap.
Yep.
Yeah. Back to maybe a bit more about yourself. No, well, that's the beauty of like having chat with someone in real estate as well. We probably could go on 1,000 tangents, but like, so was there any like role models for yourself when you decided to? So was your sister your main role model, or?
Yeah. Also, I was a diesel mechanic for about 9 years prior.
Yeah.
And I was always helping people and problem solving and doing that sort of stuff. But I got to a point where I sort of did just wake up one day and, it just wasn't it anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't feel my fire.
Yeah. Were you qualified diesel mechanic?
Yeah. So I got qualified really young. I left school really young, got into it really young, got apprenticeship really young, got qualified really young. And then progressed through it, sort of hit a plateau. I was managing a workshop, had 2 or 3 guys under me, and it still just wasn't it, There was something else within me. There was something else to go and strive for and to try and achieve.
Yep.
And I think I've told you this before, like I want to be into your game of developing property, but you need a vehicle to get there.
Yeah.
And to understand how real estate works,
yeah,
you just got to get into it.
Yeah, there's no better place to, I think, well, you're rubbing shoulders with some big hitters,
Exactly.
like, and the beauty of it, of you being in your position, you instantly get sort of propped up to, that they're going to talk to you in a, I guess, a respectful manner, where they're going to actually give you some information because you're in a position where you can help them.
Yep.
And whatnot. Like it's really hard to be in a position where they look at you as equals, because I feel like a lot of people, when they become successful and stuff like that, they won't talk to anyone that's not in it or not trying to do it, or do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Or even like you've said in the past, like, was that me or you?
I don't know. Yeah, you carry on and I'll go for a little wander.
Yeah. It was like we've spoken in the past, and there was, I think you're saying you have trouble asking other developers for help.
Yeah.
Where they don't want to share their knowledge in some sense. I relate that to it a lot in real estate. There is a lot of people who have their lips sealed and don't want to share, not so much their secrets, but they just don't want to help you.
Yeah, it's funny, and that's part of why I've started this podcast as well. As one, just to try and get people to light a fire under them to get their health in check. But then not only that, just to let people know, like, there is information out there, but I do think a lot of people gatekeep some of that information. And I've said to you, I'm an open book. Like, if you got any questions, I will only give you my experience, and I think for me, I don't mind giving anyone the advice or chances to learn from my mistakes, because I've made a few mistakes, and I'm like, don't go do that, because I wouldn't want to see you go through that. But some people, they kind of don't tell you, oh yeah, I'll let him, go and make that mistake. Whereas it's just like, it doesn't affect me. You're not essentially going to be stealing my lunch or anything like that. Like, there's enough business to go around. Is my mentality with it.
100%. There's a lot of doors on the street.
Yep. Yeah, like, even how many real estate agents are there? There's still enough for everyone to eat, right?
Yeah.
Like, but some people in the real estate industry, they tend to be really, really like, I don't know, was it dog eat dog world type thing?
Extremely.
And I don't think it needs to be like that,
You can work under the same umbrella within the same company, within the same office.
Yeah.
Sit right next to them and have a coffee with them every day.
Yeah.
But they'll happily take your business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting one. And that's part of the reason why I sort of didn't like it too much, because I'm more of I'd rather be around positivity and
that is what you make of it too, though.
Yeah.
It's just a shift to your mindset, whether you can go, well, you can do that, I'm not going to snoop to that.
Yep.
That's not what my values are at.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, sweet.
Yeah. Well, that's what I guess being young as well. There's a lot of old timers in the industry, and they know what they can, how they can pull the rug from some people with the deal and whatnot. Or
they also with an established agent. There we go, English. A lot of the time they feel like your business is their right.
Yeah.
They just have a right to it, whether it's in a listing presentation or getting an offer on a house from a buyer. It's just their right to have it. Whereas if you team up or working with a younger agent, it's a privilege to them. They take it with two hands, and they might only have your listing as one listing.
Yep.
And they're going to give you 110% of their time because they feel privileged to have that business. It's not just another one,
Yeah, it's hard too, because I always come from the mindset of both ends. I go, well, where's the value in having that young agent or that new agent versus where's that value in having the big hitters, and even just having their name side or their Rolodex of people that they can bring to. But like a lot of people don't realize nowadays, I think with the technology, I think it's definitely moved more with the listings online.
Yes.
So like it's all coming through there versus back in the days, it was more, hey, I've got 500, like people that I can go back to, and this might be for them and they might sell theirs, and like that was the older way of doing it. And now it's evolving.
Being all online. The way a lot of people, and including myself, look at it, the potential buyer is attracted to the house, not the agent.
Yeah.
You can walk to the agent and go, oh, you're the agent, or you're the agent. You don't even know who the agent is because you've liked the photos online.
Yeah. My thought pattern, what I want is someone like, that's why I was definitely keen to give you the work, because I want someone that wants, wants the work and and has a little bit of, I guess, a sense of they care a little bit, whereas I think some agents sort of, like you're saying, you're just another number or something like that, and it's just like, oh, it's that what you say, that they think of it as it's just their right to your business instead of earning that business,
Exactly.
And I always think, well, I even told you, I had a mate of mine that I worked with, and I told him I was looking for a house, and I didn't get sent a listing, like one listing to even look at, and I was like, well, of course I'm going to go give business to the person who's calling me, dropping me three links every day, and I was just like, that's what I love, because that's who I was when I was when I was an agent as well.
The property that you guys bought, Judith bought, I think I sent you that before it even came online.
Yes, we got in. Yeah. We got in that same day that it you guys caravanned it.
Yeah. I took a couple of photos, went through, and we got that. Sent you the photos there the same day, and of course we had to wait the weekend open homes.
Yeah, well, you have to, right? Like, but that's why I didn't want to express that we wanted to put in an offer, because or else we just ran into that. How many 3 multiple offers we ran into, right? And it's just, there are some things out there that you're gonna have to go through the process. Every real estate journey is always different, right? Like every sale that you've had has always been some slight difference, or it's been super easy for some, super difficult for others.
100%. 100%. But that's where having someone like yourself helping Judith through her journey can be hugely. Judith's journey.
Yep.
Having someone like yourself, and we sat down on the first sale and purchase. It's just because you'd sign a sale and purchase, you haven't bought a house. You're so far away. And at the end of it, I think we had Judith doing an e-signature in her coffee cart on the fly. From someone who's never seen a sale and purchase to someone going, oh, it's all good.
Well, remember we were sitting right here, literally signing that, and she was just like, oh, like really nervous. And I even said to her, babe, this is a lowball offer. Like, I don't think we're going to get it.
Exactly. But then you say now she's familiar with it, and we done like 2 or 3 after. And then the last one we done, you weren't even there. She was, at work on the side of the road in the coffee cart and just belted it out and didn't blink an eyelid.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as well. That's where going through the motions is a part of the process. And we even done a podcast on it with her, discussing like what it was like for her going through it, and then now at the end when I asked her, well, like, how easy do you think it will be to buy your second house? And she goes, oh yeah, like no doubt, like you can, no question, it'll be easy as I know what I'm doing. I wouldn't have the fear built into it. And now that it's all set up now, and now the rent's paying it, and the rates all sorted, and like everything's on a automatic payments, and it's all sort of looking after itself. You know how much it's costing you. There's nothing to worry about.
The confidence is there too. And like, there's, nothing's unknown, because if it's unknown, you just ask the question and someone will have the answer.
Yeah. And I think it's hard. We couldn't chalk it down to it being that easy, because she is lucky to have me, like
100%.
Like by her side. And I think there's going to be some people who are like, well, stuff you, Aaron. I don't have an Aaron by my side, or I don't have someone that I can trust, because that's the thing, is that's where they come to you as the agent, and you really need to be able to form that trust with that client, right? Like, because most people won't have someone around them, and you'll know straight away whether they've got that person around them, because they'll be like, oh, well, I got to check with Dad before I even, he has to come and look at this before me,
exactly.
Like they're normally added into the
picture.
Have
a decision maker within them.
Yeah. So then for you, you're just kind of like, oh, well, if you are the one that they're going to for the advice, you really need to make sure that you're, I guess, presenting yourself so that they can know that they can trust you.
Because it is, like we said, it's one of the biggest transactions that they can potentially make. And for that person to give that trust to someone else, which can be a complete stranger like myself, and for them to hand over that trust can be a very big step for them. How do we know that the advice you're giving me is true and correct, and it's just
well, because I know real estate agents have got I know especially for my dad, like he hates them. So when I became a real estate agent, he was just like, "I'll get yourself a real fucking job." And I'm just like, what do you call me? Like, oh, you bloody pen pusher, like, because Dad's a builder, so he's a working man,
exactly.
He's a man's man, and then he sees me going to real estate, and I said, like, I use this to work, Dad, and now it's paid off for me in dividends, but there is that stigma
100%.
for the agents, and I spent my time actually going around and actually trying to defeat that sort of stigma towards every single client that I had. And they were like, oh man, you're nothing like what I thought an agent would be, like, just because half the time I was talking them out of deals.
Yeah.
So like half the time I was saying to them, like, don't do it. Like, because you can see when like if you're taking a couple through, you'd see if one likes it a bit more, and you go like, oh no, she's going to be trying to push for this, or he's going to be trying to push for this. And I was like, well, don't think it's a good deal. And I was just giving them my honest opinion.
Exactly.
And every time was just giving honest opinion after honest opinion. And they'll be like, man, do you not want to sell the house? I was like, I do. Like, I just I want to sell the house for you in 5 years.
And have no problems.
Yeah. And have no problems. I don't want you to be like, man, that fucking agent pushed me into that house,
Exactly.
I would lose sleep at night if I actually was going around doing those sort of deals.
Yeah. And it can definitely keep your mind busy. The old real estate.
Oh yeah. Well, it's never ending, right? Like I said to people, I was like, I worked 2 years without a day off. And then they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I remember being on holiday on the mountain up snowboarding down, and I've had to stop halfway down, and I sold a house. Yeah. Like I was always sending an email at the end of the day. There's never a day off.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was only a couple of days ago. One of the boys from the gym popped around home, had a bit of a catch up, and I was on the phone at 9 o'clock at night talking to a client.
And was he baffled?
Yeah, he's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, working.
Yeah.
To a degree. It is just a phone call, but it's just keeping in contact with them. They were calling me, asking me a whole heap of questions, but it's because that's when they were free. It's always, they'll have dinner and go, I'll call the agent back. And so after 5 o'clock is your busy time, because 9 to 5.
It's pretty cruisy, like if you don't have much showings right during the day. Like, there are swings and roundabouts with it, but you'd rather, fit it into the normal 9 to 5.
Yeah.
But like you gotta, like, I remember writing up a contract at 10 o'clock at night in the office.
Yeah.
And there was another Asian in there as well.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that was common.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
you weren't just the only one out there doing late deals or whatnot.
Yeah, it's a hustle. It is a hustle. And because if you're not on the train doing it, someone else will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another agent right there who will happily write that contract.
Yeah, and your deal wasn't like you haven't got a deal until it's unconditional.
Exactly.
So you know you got to bust your balls until you can get it done. Was real estate always on the cards for you? Like having your sister around? Like, was there anyone around you that was a role model, or did you see what was that thing where you were like, nah, like this isn't it? Like, was it having your sister going into real estate and actually killing it? And...
Yeah, it was just around me so much. And I guess how many times did I have to say fuck this to actually say fuck this?
Yeah,
you know, at my old job, I was a mechanic for a very long time, and there'd be that many times where you'd be doing something and then you'd just go, shit, you know, and you'd just have to go and cool down and come.
That was probably more tame than, you know, being a tradie. You know, there would probably be a bit more words than that.
Yep. There's been all sorts. There's been broken hammers and stuff thrown across the workshop, and when stuff's just not quite going your way. But then, you know, it's just the challenge of the job, and it's not for everyone, that job. And I've done it for a fair whack of time to know it wasn't for me. And then
most people change every 8 years. Is their profession. They normally sort of change, and like some people do. And you're probably around that mark, right?
Yeah,
where
exactly.
It was getting a lot for you.
Yeah, it was. And I was juggling managing a workshop, on the tools, guys, and then as well as studying real estate. When I decided to make that change, I was still working as a mechanic at the gym 5 o'clock in the morning, get home 5 o'clock at night, study 9 o'clock at night, up, recycle, repeat, rinse, recycle, repeat. And it was
that for, you were studying, what was it for?
Real estate.
Yeah.
So then that was just purely to get the papers done, because if I wasn't in routine doing that, it wouldn't have happened. Yeah. Like, I'd just procrastinate and it just wouldn't happen. I needed to disconnect, remove myself from everything, and just lock in and just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you got 12 months to do it, right?
Yeah.
And some people took like almost the 12 months.
Yeah.
I did mine in 3 months.
I did mine in 3 months
and
too.
I worked as well.
Yeah, I was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to do it in 3 months.
Good on you, yeah, because
I know exactly what you went through while working full time to do it in 3 months. It's a slog.
I found it quite easy. Like, I found the papers quite easy because I've been around building.
Yeah.
So I think I always had sort of dad talking about houses.
Yeah.
And I was always interested in houses, so I always found that quite easy for me to pick up. But yeah, a lot of people, they really struggle and to get through it while working.
Yeah.
Because I think some of the other agents that came through when I was there, they ended up like leaving work for and then 2 months to get their papers finished or whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah. We see that quite a bit. People trying to jump into real estate. It works for some people, not for everyone. It's people trying to jump into real estate and keep a part-time job.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, you're either all in or all out.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you can be tied up doing your part-time job and you can miss so much because you just never know when and where it's going to come from.
Yeah. Very, very true, man. Honestly, like, a lot of people don't realize. I even think that for business, man. I almost think that for everything.
Yeah. You
can't just be dipping your toes in. You got to just jump in and go all in. Like, it's one of my mates we talked about that I have on the podcast with me as well. He's talked about going out on his own to do his own nutritionist business.
Right.
And he realized it was just constantly just like hesitant, you know, like umming and ahhing and like, do I do it? And then when he does it, you know, when you go all in, you reap the rewards because you get out what you put in.
Yep.
And then with people doing the half, part-time job, they
drop off pretty quickly.
Yeah, they drop off. Yeah. Because then they go, oh, I'm only getting half the money, but I'm working full-time hours. And then they're like, well, I can't, this is unsustainable. It's like, well, it would have been sustainable if you backed yourself. Like, and I feel like it's fair. People aren't going to give you the deal if you're not giving it your all. Like, you're half in. You know?
And you really got to get to that point where you are all in to realize that, like, you're all in. There's no turning back. Once you realize that within yourself too, like you're in it 100%. You know, 9 o'clock at night taking phone calls, 10 o'clock at night writing offers. That's when you know you're all in.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get your first deal?
7 months.
7 months?
Yeah.
So then, you know, that's, for the listeners out there, that's where you're worried about buying a house. Like, imagine trying to go 7 months without an income.
With a mortgage.
Yeah.
So that was...
So then, essentially, you almost had a stop clock.
Yep.
Yeah, you probably...
I had a buffer.
Yeah.
I had a buffer where I wasn't going to go below.
Yeah.
And I went below
it. Fucking good on you, bro, because, like, a lot of people, they fold.
Yeah, it was there, and I was like, right, I can take this and run.
Yep.
Or I can keep going.
Yeah. Take the loss, but, you know, and don't...
Take a learning curve.
Yep.
And move on, and I just pushed through it.
Was there a few internal conversations going on?
Very much so, very much so. So when I was doing my papers in 2023, the market was inclining. Yeah. There was a lot more confidence towards the end of the year. It was getting better. Yeah, it was shit, but everything was getting better, and it was looking like a very positive time. And then I started in early February, and we had an incline for another month, and it just fell off a cliff. It just plummeted. Houses just stopped selling. Inquiry stopped. No one coming through open homes. I think I was doing 20 open homes a week from Monday to Sunday at all times of the day, seeing 1 or 2 people and they're a neighbor or someone that's followed the sign-in.
Oh, yep.
To now doing maybe 4 on a Saturday, 4 on a Sunday, and seeing 20, 30, 40 groups through.
Yeah.
Just in the last few months. Yeah. So it's the activity in the market is back, and it's there. And to see it from where we've come from, 0, it's just it's not only good for real estate, it's good for the whole economy. Yeah. People are back out. The confidence there.
You can just see it. You can smell it in the air.
Yeah. Well, all the signs are there. Why not to buy a house? OCR's dropped. Dropping again, I'm hoping. Yep. Interest rates are down. Inflation's down. A year ago, interest rates were high. OCR was high. Yeah. Inflation was high.
Yeah.
It's
tough market.
Yeah. That's why they're not going to purchase. Yeah. Everything coming down just increases the buyer confidence, basically. It has a huge positive effect on the whole economy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like it's weird. I think it's a good time. Well, I think I timed it really well. And I think the longer you wait, the more those people that we talked about earlier that, it's never going to happen, the longer you wait, the harder it's going to get. Because you thought it's hard in a down market. Yeah. You try buying in an up market. You're up against me. Yeah. You know, like and yourself. Like people looking to buy their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th property, you know, and
they know how to buy.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing that Judith hopefully is taking away working with you, the urgency you need to put an offer in. Yeah. You don't think about, you do think about it, but you also have your conditional period to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Understand how the process a bit more, whereas like that part needs to be the fast part. Yeah. And then you go do your due diligence. Exactly. And then you go, okay, well, maybe this deal wasn't for me. Like when we pulled out of that Keitha. Yeah. Yeah.
I did see that come back online not too long ago, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it came back on flipped.
Flipped? Yeah. What did it sell for, actually?
510.
510?
Yep.
Really? Mm-hmm. And what were we on it?
590.
Jeez. So there was his buyer.
And his flipper.
Yeah.
Obviously, he gets a list.
Jeez, he got beat down, that vendor.
Yeah. He lost.
Oh my God.
He lost, what's that?
Because I would have taken that for 550.
Yeah,
and flipped it myself or something like that, you know?
So it got flipped. It's come back on about mid-7.
Yeah.
It's still online.
Yeah. That might sit there for a bit, but he'll probably get, you know,
he'll just have to wait for the market to catch back up.
Yeah, he's probably there. He's renting it out, I'm guessing, or
from the photos, it was staged.
Okay, yeah. Oh, we'll get back to it.
Real estate agents say just ramble on about real estate.
No, man, I can talk real estate. That's why when we run into each other at the gym, we kind of got to start walking away from each other because we will just keep going and keep going. Because I like to just get there and work out, and you do too.
Yeah.
Well, so you gave us so you were saying around like the last year. So what do you think about the last 6 months? You know, so you're saying that there's a lot more
activity.
Yeah, there's a lot more activity.
Yeah.
And we're heading towards maybe a more stable, because I don't want it to go nuts either.
It doesn't need to.
Yeah, from my perspective, I wouldn't, you know, like I would be winning because I've got my 5 units that I need to, you know, well, I'm holding on to them now, but like, you know, if I were wanting to sell them later on, you know, like I'll be winning big time, but it's just, it's not good for everyone, you know, like, it only rewards the select few.
If in the last 6 months, like going back to about the open homes, like just the numbers there again. I've done open homes over the weekend. We had done 3 or 4 open homes. There was 6 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups. That very same open home, you know, we'd expect to see no one. It's just people turning up, people wanting to buy, and listing numbers are decreasing. Days on market is decreasing. Buyer activity is increasing.
What's the auctions looking like? Because that's always been my sort of golden thing that I tend to look at. So that's when I think is the big tell in a market.
We have a 60% clearance rate. It varies through our agencies. We're very auction focused.
Yeah.
Sell a lot of properties through auctions.
But for the listeners out there, selling through auctions is harder because you're going unconditional.
It's unconditional.
So that's why I gauge it as a metric for myself, because I'll be like, if people are going through auction more, that means there's more buyers that are cashed up.
Yep.
So then that sort of trickles down to every other sort of price by negotiation price, you know, with a price.
And you can either buy really, really well in an auction of an extremely motivated vendor, or you can sell really, really well in an auction with competition in the room.
Yeah.
We had one at the start of the year, mid last year, and they would have been very happy to sell early 7s.
Yep.
Happy as. That's their number. And we're doing a bit of a promo, and there was a trip to the Gold Coast given away if you sell your house by auction on this day in like a gala. And they're like, oh, well, we might as well just try the gala and try and win a trip to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't sell, we're in no rush. We'll just put it on for price and carry on. They sold for $794.
Oh, wow.
And it just blew the socks off.
Yeah.
They were not expecting to see that money. It was unreal money for that house. And it was just competition in the room. Yeah.
It is, and that's a lot. It's got a lot to do with the agent making sure that they're not scaring off people, because getting numbers in the room is a huge part of it, right? Because someone's got to start the bidding. Because I know me, I guess, as a person that would be sitting there, I'll be just sitting around waiting for someone to bid, and if there's no one going to bid, I'll just throw in one bid, so then I can just negotiate one-on-one with the vendor, you know. But if you don't have those people, even if you're starting low, there's still human nature, man. Like
you don't
competitive.
You
don't want to be outbidded by someone else. You know, ego comes into it as well.
Yep. We see huge numbers coming in through the auction. There's been houses just sell for ridiculous money just from the competition in the room.
Yeah,
that's why I'm a huge advocate for auctions. If I was to ever, probably, it's got to be the right house for auction. Don't get me wrong, because you can miss a lot of the market.
Yeah.
If it's a first home buyer house, it's got to be priced.
Yeah.
You don't take it to auction. You
Yeah.
can, and if you're a first-home buyer, you can buy at auction. You just work for the mortgage broker to get you that position. But a lot of people will just scroll straight past it.
Yeah.
Deadline sales and negotiations, where the price is hidden a lot, we do find that the numbers are quite lower in the open home.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot where the potential buyer will just be scrolling straight past it.
Yeah.
Because it's the unknown to them.
Yeah. So like for people listening, like what would you consider like a house that would go to auction then? Like, for people that are listening.
It's got to have content.
Yeah.
It's got to, it's got to have the big deck with the louvers, and it's got to be a house where 2 or more people would want it. It's your second or third home, and that's not
saying that your house isn't a nice house.
Yeah.
But if you've got the, like there's a few houses,
and that's not to say
here
any house can go to auction, like do-ups.
Yep.
Do-ups, auction.
Yeah.
Because do-ups and flippers, houses that you can flip are just dynamite.
Yep.
There's a whole heap of people that want them. If I was to get in contact with a vendor that has a flip, I can take 5 flippers there right now. And they just will, and all of them will
throw offers,
give you an unconditional offer.
But
if we take it to the room and we hold off, it's just all of them in the same room.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah. So there's a good tip for anyone out there that's thinking like, well, is my house that great?
Every house is great.
Yeah, but everyone thinks their house is better than everyone else's. But
yeah.
But then they go and try and buy somewhere else, and they're like, "Oh, it's not worth that much." It's like, that's how it works, mate. For you, like people think that when they walk into your house.
Exactly.
So you deal with a few high level performers in real estate. Like, what's that been like competing in that sort of space with some big hitters?
Humbling.
Yep.
Very. You get knocked down really quickly. And you just got to get back up and find your feet and just go again. It's it can also be daunting going into it, very much so. It all comes down to how you're going into the competition, if it's in a multi-offer or if it's in a listing presentation, or how you're meeting them head to head. Client-wise, if you're working with developers, they have a lot of questions and they expect you to know the answers. Before, I worked for a couple of developers and I took him a development opportunity, bit of land, resource consent, build a couple of units. And before I call him, you got to know how much each unit's going to sell for, how much the land is, how big's the land, what's he got to do,
He wants you doing his due diligence.
He's just going to have quick fire questions.
Yeah.
And you go, right, they're going to sell for this, roughly, the land's this size, just for him to even have a look at it.
Yeah.
So
the numbers got to half stack up in his head.
Yeah, before he even
looks at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because developers will be working with any and every agent. Yeah. Basically. Whoever just brings them the deal.
Yeah.
You just got to be a part of it to give them the deal.
Yeah. And then, so like, what's it been like competing with some of these other agents and stuff like that? Like, what's that been like? There's a few people that are what people call dinosaurs. They've been there for
centuries.
How old we are?
Yeah,
literally
longer.
Yeah, I know some of them.
Yeah.
I saw a 50-year the other day on, I think, Harcourts. They had been there for 50 years or something.
Oh,
like
it might have been an out of town one. There's a few old players within Harcourts where I'm at. A lot of them at face value. Really nice people. Like, the longer they're in the game, the more likely they are to help you in some sense. But they've been in it long enough to keep their cards close to their chest. They're not going to give away anything to help you when you can use it against them. Yeah. So it is, again, it's just a very cutthroat industry to be amongst.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Like, well, it's not for the faint-hearted.
No.
Yeah. Walk us through the process. What would it be like if someone wants to reach out to you and we wanted to buy a house or something like that? Like, walk us through that journey. What would that be like?
On the initial phone call, I always like to try and catch up for a coffee or something, or a smoothie, or a walk around the lake, or whatever floats your boat, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And basically just find out, most importantly, if you're buying with a partner, sweet, where do you guys work?
Yeah.
We want to ideally be close to work, or do you not mind traveling? Oh, we want to be close to work. Well, now we're not going to go look at houses over this side of town. We've already narrowed down our search. So it's saving me time. And then how many bedrooms? Do they know the difference between a cross lease and freehold? Is it going to worry them?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a problem? And then we just going to look at a couple of houses and sort of just feel it out. Not always it's a quick process, but we start sort of finding one that they like, and then we just got to get them into a position where they want to write an offer if they haven't written an offer before. Like we're saying at the start, it can be such a daunting process, and just getting to be in that position that you want to write an offer, and having the energy within the house to have them excited to write the offer.
Yep.
And then once we write the offer, we still got to get it accepted.
Yep.
We've written the offer.
It's not even actually half the job, like that's only 10% of the job.
And then once you've written the offer, the second one's very easy to write. You already know that it can not go anywhere, not eventuate to anything. And then once we get it accepted, that's when a lot of the agent's work does kick in.
Yeah.
On the buying side, we've got to sort out the building report, get into the building report, do all that sort of stuff. Make sure you're paired up with a good solicitor. Working with your solicitor if anything you need, questions, and your due diligence within the legal side of it. And then any other conditions you have on the agreement, obviously finance, toxicology,
Builder's report,
toxicology, limb. I should know them all.
Yeah.
That's all of them. Work through those
on the front page,
and then we can get a Aaron one.
Hey man, I should have put it in.
Yeah,
see,
in hindsight.
Yeah,
and when we did do that contract, I was going to go, do you want to put that in there?
Yeah,
and
just because of the interactions that we had during that process, we won't dive into that. What an absolute pain that was, not getting access to a property that we've literally bought unconditional on.
Yeah, because he was,
So those conditions that there, and then do you just typically just try and get people out there looking at the houses?
I always like to say to especially my clients that I work with, and I was like, you don't need to go to open homes. We can just make viewings around your schedule. You've got 3 you want to go and look at. Let's go and look at 1 on each night after work.
Yeah.
We'll just meet there, go for it, not it, sweet. Instead of trying to juggle 3 open homes in a day where you've got limited time,
you can have different neighborhoods.
You can have endless time by yourself in the house to make, an educated decision on if you want to purchase it or not.
Yeah.
And then if you do, I'm right there where I can lead you in the next step. Whether you want to put an offer in, you're also dealing with an agent that's working in favor of you, not for the vendor. And the thing, if you went to put an offer in with a listing agent, they're there just to get the most money out of you for their client, make them look better.
Yeah, well, it's their fiduciary duty.
Exactly.
Right? So,
exactly. It's and that's why working for buyer's agent, whoever it may be, it's a roadblock for the listing agent to contact you as the buyer, where they can spew some jargon onto you, and then you can soften it to the client and not get them to a position where the vendor wants them, but maybe just meet them halfway in negotiation.
Well, I always find it's more, the process is you're there to filter their bullshit and make sure that you're getting the right information out of it that you have asked for.
Yep.
versus when you go straight there. You know, I think I told you I went out to one out in Te Awamutu, and just God, like trying to get, was it blood out of a stone or something like that? It's blood out of a rock, or like you can't get anything out of them, you know. And this was a deal just fell over, like, and I was like, well, can you tell me what that fell over at? You know, it's like, no, it was like, how do you want me to put an offer on this property? Like, I need information, mate. Like, this isn't just like a you guess who type thing, you know. Like, it's especially for do-ups, you know. Like,
because you're running on numbers on the do-up. You want to make sure there's skin in the game at the end of the renovation. Yeah.
No, sweet. Well, I on body, mind, and integrity, we take health really seriously, and obviously we met through the gym, for a mate at the gym as well, and like, so what's that been like for you in real estate? Like, how has that been? Have you been upkeeping the health? We talk about it quite a bit, you know. Talk about it here.
Yeah, huge. Yeah. Probably wouldn't be where I am now without fitness. Yeah. Or the gym or mind state. Yeah. You know, like we spoke about before, to that buffer and going a little bit further. It's just like the one last rep. Yeah. In the gym. Just one more. It's how you're going to progress. It's how you're going to get better. Just push yourself. And, you know, taking that into my day to day, getting knocked down. It's like, what have you done this morning? Yeah. You know, you can go into competition with those established agents or some sort, and you can tell that, you know, they might not look after themselves or a little bit unhealthy around the lifestyle, and they'll try and belittle you or beat you down or beat you in a listing presentation or wherever it may be. All that I say to myself is, oh, what have you done for yourself today? I've already been to the gym. I've already already done 5-10Ks. I've done this. Like,
it's a confidence builder for you.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Which is what you need being young in the game, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, you know, you'll have people try and drag you down for being an agent. Like, you're saying, it's like, just brush it off. And it's like, sweet. And it's very easy to move on. You can leave it in the past as a statement and just leave it at that and move on.
Yeah, well, because like I'm reading David Goggins' book at the moment, and how he's saying, like, you're calloused your mind, you know, and you're going in and you're doing hard things for yourself. You know, you can just brush it off. You know, you can, you know, sometimes, you know, there's some things that are frustrating, but you do ultimately swing back around and be like, mate, like, who are you? You know, like, you don't even look after yourself. Right?
Exactly.
You don't even care, like, because I see a lot of people like, oh, I'm out here like working my ass off, and I used to subscribe to that because, like, you know, I was that fuck, you know, like, and I used to think like, oh, I'm out working everyone. I was like, well, you're just working hard on one area. Yeah. Whereas, like, I let my health completely go, and it, you know, I was a weak man for that, you know, like, I just thought that that's all I needed. And you see some of them, that's their mentality, when realistically, like, you've got 99 problems until you only got one, which is your health, you know. And you see a lot of I think actually real estate's quite bad for it as well. A lot of those guys, they end up coming into some health issues because they neglect their health quite a lot.
I could talk to a lot of agents every day and they run out of breath talking to me. They're starting to, their heart rate's increasing from having a conversation. It's like, really?
Yeah. Yeah. We won't go slandering them too much, because it might hurt your deals in the future, mate. If anyone listens to this, and they're the one that knows that the one just. But like, yeah, so you make sure that you stay on track of that, and then that keeps you on top of it, because it's a healthy body is a healthy mind.
Healthy mind, right? Yeah. 100%. It has the huge positive effect on business, life, everything. Like, you know, over the holidays, like, obviously our gym closes on the stats, and just getting out, going for a walk in the morning, go for a run, whatever it was. the release of dopamines that you get out of it is just, it's like getting the deal.
Yeah.
It's,
It's second to none, right? Like
exactly.
I'm glad I got my health in check, because like I didn't realize, how good life is when you operate just from being healthy, like that's why I thought I'd ask the question, because it's, I want people to hear it, because I sort of ask everyone, how does health come into it for you? And I think it's the number one thing. Like I've been going all in on my health, and actually just like really all in on it. And then everything's been coming as a byproduct for me. The ability to work hard. Like some people are like, well, how the hell are you working so much, Aaron? And like, no, like hardly any days off. I was like, it's because I've been putting myself first, and then everything just, trickles down, like it comes after, from looking after yourself and actually having that bandwidth to go, because you are looking after your health.
So I've only really known you since like, the last year or so.
Yeah.
From your journey, from what you've told me, what have you found out about yourself from then till now?
From then till now, like, I wouldn't even say about myself. What I've found out is what the body is capable of. And I think that can apply for anyone more than like, so my world has opened to what is possible for me and what my body is capable of. I think I just hit 100 days in a row of going to the gym every single day.
Yep.
I take no days off. And I am constantly getting after it every day. And I will very rarely have a day off work as well.
Yeah.
Whereas my thought pattern towards it was like, you need rest. You need things. And I think that's what the average person collective will all say, like I've got to have my rest day. I've got to have my Saturday, Sunday, or they've got to have this. And like, that's all right for them, because they're expecting average results.
Yeah.
Whereas I've sort of learned about myself as I don't want average. I want above average. And I am putting my mind and my body through constant rigorous testing, like going, all right. And then I have stuffed myself, I pushed my knees too far, and I'm currently going through rehab. But like, that's a result of testing myself. And I was like, okay, sweet. There's my boundary for how many kilometers I can run in a week, while not
but you're
fueling myself.
You've pushed yourself to the limit to now know the limit.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go past that limit because I know I can rebuild and go past that. But like,
just that little bit more.
Yeah, it's just understanding that about, I think, just the human body, and like I look at others as well, and you kind of need to actually look for people that are doing better than you in certain areas, and you go like, well, if they can do it, like how are they doing it? All right, like let's look at their day-to-day life. It's like, oh, they're doing X, Y, and Z way more than me. Like looking after their health tends to be the common denominator.
Yep.
And that's where I sort of started looking for like, well, don't listen to the people that are living the life that I don't want to be living.
Exactly.
I would even apply that for even successful people. It's like, well, you're successful, but you look like shit.
Exactly.
Like that's you are knocking on death's door. Like,
who is your role model? I've got people that I follow and subscribe to, and they're in shape, successful, they're absolute like real estate powerhouse machines, or they're David Goggins. He's another good one. People that are in shape, you can also sense their mindset.
Yeah,
it's just different to people. They might be successful, but they look like shit.
Well, I heard on the podcast of I think it was Andy Frisella. I think he was saying like being in shape is a thing that literally you don't need to say a word. You can walk into a room and then people will look at you and give you respect because they know it's not easy to be in shape.
Yeah.
Like it takes work. So they can instantly look at you and they will start judging you, and they'll be like, well, this motherfucker
looks after
himself.
Exactly.
Because if you don't look after yourself with the way that the food is and everything and the way the system's set up now, you will be slightly pudgy, or like, even if you've got good genetics, you still will look pretty average. To look like you're healthy takes a lot of effort, and that's where I think a lot of people
and grit. And if that's your mindset or your work ethic towards yourself, what's it going to be like towards your business?
Yeah. Well, so that's that's what I would say. What I learned about myself. I've always known I was supposed to get after it, and I think I was more like mad at myself for letting myself go so far. But we can't dwell on the past.
Exactly.
The past is the past. I made those mistakes. I let my health go. I thought I was the man, but I was the woman with my man boobies. But yeah, so like that's, I would say, learning just to put myself first, and that's what has allowed me to create this life that I have where I can actually help so many others, Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you got any other questions for me? Or we can just chalk it up there and maybe we'll get you back on and another one. We can chat real estate,
Real estate again for another
Bro, we
hour.
can do that every day. The way you go through the chats, like, it will be different every time, there'll be a deal or something like that people wouldn't understand, and I feel like I asked the right questions as well that people would be able to learn from.
Yeah.
Because I think it's hard just going, it'll be all right, you'll figure it out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But learning about different scenarios and stuff like that could be good. Maybe we'll get you on and you can tell us about your worst about your worst deal, I'll give you my worst deal as well.
Yeah.
We can give people heads up out there for things to look out for.
Yeah.
Worst
or best? The worst is the best. You learn the most from it.
You learn the most, man. Like, honestly, we talk about the calloused mind, you know, it's the same with, and that's what you'll probably hear that from some of the old boys in real estate. They say, you just got to do as many deals as you can because they're still learning, like
every deal's different.
Yeah, every deal's different. You're constantly, every purchase is different. Like there's to marry it all up, there's always a different way to make sure things don't go wrong, and then they can still go wrong.
They all fall apart.
Yeah. No, sweet. Well, thanks for coming on, bro.
No, that's all good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no. Well, if anyone wants to find you, where do they find you? To look out for you on Harcourts?
Yeah, it's on Harcourts and Instagram and Facebook, just Beau Edgecombe.
Yep.
Happy to help.
Happy to help if you're looking for your first home, or if you want to list your house.
There you go.
Number one, if you want to list your house,
give
Beau a call. Awesome. Thanks for listening, guys.
Sweet.